Thank you very much. So, as you can probably understand from my pronunciation, I come from Italy, specifically from Rome, and I am pleased to be here with you to tell you my story, my experience, specifically about managing a transformation. It's a story full of learnings. It's a story full of mistakes and lessons learned. I really like to introduce myself very quickly. This is me with my favorite friend, Kufel, and a couple of other hobbies that are extremely important in my life as electromusic and physics. So basically, it seems that agility is the right compromise of all this, between all these interests. So let's start from organizations. Organizations are sometimes big, sometimes small, but in my personal experience, they are very big. I don't know if this is a lucky circumstance or not, but I've been dealing with organizations that are more than 10,000 of employees, and I suddenly came to the conclusion that they are really like living organisms. There is no possibility to plan, which is exactly the same kind of behavior that you have in complex natural system. So when you have no possibility to plan, you don't have any possibility to monitor and control. In the end of the day, probably the best theory that can help you is the chaos theory. You need to have a different approach to such a complex organism. And this is probably clear to all of us, but so why do management in such a complex and large organization still believe that they can manage their transformation in a top-down manner? Basically, we should ask ourselves, how can we change a complex system? How can we affect a complex system? So which are the forces that we can use? Looking at a complex system, for instance, a crowd in a stadium, it's quite clear that you can use two different kind of forces. One is the intentional force, when you are just deciding at management level what needs to be done, and you try to apply this in a top-down manner to your organization, while the other force is an emergent force, when you are letting all the components at the peripherals of the system take their own decision. So it's clear from several experiences that we had that we need both. There is no real possibility to have a successful transformation by using only one out of the two forces. So you need an intentional force that is pushing downwards decisions, and you need an upwards force that is emerging from the components that are part of the system. Now, it comes the big question. How can we keep those two elements together? Can you really synchronize these two forces? My own experience, the answer is no. There is no possibility. I have seen it fail several times when an organization is trying to let the people decide at the component level and then apply intentional decisions from the top down. In general, in organizations, you have the brain, which is the leadership, and the brain is trying to push decision on a downward direction. I mean, this is not possible if you are in a complex organization. It was great to come to this presentation after the previous presentation, because I really see the connection between the two topics. One topic is about team self-selection, which is fantastic, because this will succeed only if it's run at the component level. But still, you want your leadership to push downwards decisions. So how to manage the synchronization of the two? Now we want to tell you a story, because this story will help us understand how much this can become a disaster. So let me introduce my friend Melissa. She's the Agile Transformation Manager of a large telecommunication company. which is more than 10,000 employees, and she was basically no one. She started basically being a normal employee. Then the new CEO arrived, and the first priority of the new CEO was to transform the entire IT development department to full-scale agility. So everyone was reluctant, as very often happens in the management, in the frozen management layer, and this person was inspired. So it was extremely powerful, and she was promoted to drive the transformation. Everyone was shocked, because it was really out of the blue. There was no connection with the management. It was a simple employee taken simply because she was extremely happy to be in that role. I remember that the CEO used the sentence, if you believe, you'll be the man on the moon, which is a popular song from R.E.M. So basically, she was the woman on the moon. It was fantastic. And the very good days of SHU is when you learn, and it was fantastic to be the consultant, and I was the consultant for this person, because it was really like a blank page with the possibility to listen and learn, and also to let her touch with her hands the magic. The magic is when you realize that decision loops are faster, that you can experiment, that you can make mistakes. And this was really, in my opinion, the most exciting part of the process, when the Agile Transformation Manager was learning what impact she could have on the organization. And in general, all the employees were extremely curious to see how could a single person in an organization take decisions to transform the entire organization to such a wide extent. So basically, we've been building the brain, and the brain was really taking decisions for all around the body. So what's next? This is when everything comes to a failure. It's the responsibility trap. And this is what I really underestimated. I mean, this person was growing her ego as a monster. And this is, in my opinion, the intrinsic destination of the brain driving a transformation. I was actually falling in the same trap myself, because I was feeling the power to change the world on my own, which is something that is not even possible. I mean, it's not even applicable. You cannot change your own family, so how can you change an entire organization with thousands of employees? In general, it was evolving on a day-by-day basis, and it was not even easy to understand how it was going on. But there was a moment in time when everyone was calling it Melissa's transformation. So it was like one person changing the full organization, bearing the cross for all the decisions and for all the changes that needed to be applied. For instance, selecting Scrum Masters, selecting team members, exactly the opposite as the self-selection method that has just been described. So this is the brain taking decisions for all the body. It was going nowhere, and after 1 year and a half, it was going really to an end. It was a drama. We, at a certain point in time, believed that there was no possibility to recover, and I was feeling extremely guilty, because I was not able to recognize that this was going in the wrong direction. The CEO came to me and asked me to coach this person, I mean, to let her understand from her own mistakes, and also to try to completely revert the approach, to delegate as much as possible to the team level the decisions. So now you might expect to see the perfect final of the story, which is about success. And the answer is truly not. We are still in the middle of the learning path. I mean, the first part of the story is about failure. We still do not know what the second part of the story will be, but for sure we have learned this very important lesson, is that you cannot manage your own transformation. This transformation is not your baby. That's the words that the CIO has used when he realized that there was this responsibility trap that was really blocking all the organization from transforming. So in general, we came to the turning point when it was clear that he couldn't proceed any further. So where are we today? This person is finally a lifelong learner, reading good books, sleeping well, being happy, no longer heart attacks, and possibly sitting behind, trying to empower all the rest of the organization, including the leadership team, because this was not only negative for the teams, but also for the leadership to have one person in the driving seat. We are still going in circles. We are still halfway through the journey, but now I see clear signs of improvement because the teams start feeling much more empowered, taking decisions on their own, and also when we set up process element of process, this is done more by the team in a bottom-up direction. So let me just summarize with one few sentences. So what we have learned here. First is that organizations are living organisms. So you cannot really manage your organization as it was a robot that you can program in advance from the brain down to the body. We have also managed that we need a we have also understood that we need a powerful guiding coalition that needs to be large enough. So I want to just clarify what means large enough. In my personal experience, this guiding coalition should have been at least including people from all the layers of the organization. So you should rather include in your enablement team people from the employees level, people from the management level, and from different departments as well. Even a large enablement team is okay if you manage to have representatives from all parties of the organization. But then it requires a lot of inclusion, a lot of empathy, and a lot of humility. And this is probably the most soft learning that I had. I was really falling into this sense of superhero that was affecting my possibility to succeed. So in general, always act as a servant leader wherever you are. I mean, either if you are a scrum master, either if you are a leadership team product owner, even if you are an enterprise level coach, always act as a servant leader and never fall into this responsibility trap again. I want to ask you a question. Is there anyone in the room that is working in an enablement team for the transformation? Okay, quite a lot. How many people do you have in your enablement team? Is there anyone that have less than 10? Okay. And do you feel that your decisions are accepted by the organization in an easy and fast way? No. Okay.
No easy and fast.
Yes. Okay. And another question is there anyone in the room that is working in the leadership team level, part of the leadership? Okay. Are you delegating decisions to the enablement team, or are you going to decide everything on your own?
No and no. The model varies depending on what we're facing.
Okay. So
there is no one-directional thing. No.
Okay. And so last question is about the team level. Is there anyone being part of the transformation in a team level? No? Yeah. I mean, a team level, I mean, And because this is also important, are you always receiving decisions from the top down, or are you also, obviously, based on your presentation, I see that you are much more independent, but I think that in a team level, it's very often the opposite case when you are just receiving. So coming back to my experience, I really want to highlight that this is crucial. I made 3 different transformations, 3 different telco, and I always seen more or less similar patterns. Decisions taken by an enablement team that is not empowered enough, and also lot of lack of independency and lack of empowerment at the team level. Might be my culture, because I am from a country, Italy, that probably has a very specific cultural behaviors, something that you might also want to consider. Cultural differences are very much important. But if I had to do it again, I would never ever compromise anymore on the team empowerment, and I would never ever fall anymore into the illusion that we can manage this from the brain to the body. So that's my major learning. I think that that's all that I want to tell you, and I think that also I still have some time, but I don't want to use also because we have been a little bit running out of time. So thank you very much for your time. Have a good day.